What's going on, guys? Adventures in Bitcoin here. Got a lot I want to cover. Today was a big day for the cryptos, big day for the stock market. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribing. Hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber and you like my unique spin on things, make sure you're hitting the notification bell so you get notified when I release a new video. And if you're one of the unfortunate people that happen to know me personally, make sure you're watching my videos because I get phone calls sometimes. Like recently, someone called me to ask me about Ethereum, why Ethereum was down, because they don't check their portfolio daily like some of us do. They maybe check on it once or twice a week. And so why is Ethereum down? I said, well, I've been kind of bearish on Ethereum for probably 3 months now. You said Ethereum was going to outperform Bitcoin. So yeah, I said that months ago. So if you want to be up to date, if you are interested in what I have to say about things, about cryptos, about a particular coin in general, visit the channel, leave a comment. I'll be happy to share my thoughts. So all right, what happened today? So this guy here, who's the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, he made an announcement today, made a big speech, basically saying that the Federal Reserve is not going to be as aggressive as they were going to be in raising interest rates. Now they've raised it, I think, twice last month, or I know at least once last month they raised the interest rates a little bit, like a quarter of a percentage point. And they said they were going to raise it again in December, and I think we're going to get 3 more in 2019. So now they're saying the economy's looking pretty good. They don't want to raise it too fast, and they've also been under extreme scrutiny from Donald Trump because he doesn't want them raising interest rates too much until he's able to get some of the debt down. Because as you know, the Fed has been keeping interest rates artificially low now since the financial crisis that started back in 2008. But it's a balancing act. If they don't raise it enough, the economy heats up too fast and eventually we go into a recession. Or if they raise it too much, then we still go into a recession. It just happens faster. So regardless, this speech sent the stock market soaring today. Many people, myself included, feel this announcement and the timing was very suspect. Almost seems like it was from pressure from Donald Trump and the Trump administration. Because like I said, he's been very critical of them. So how does the interest rate and the stock market rally, how does that affect Bitcoin? It's really not the interest rate itself or the stock market itself. We really need to understand the relationship between all the investments, the rise and fall of the dollar, stocks, bonds, precious metals, and even real estate. They're all interrelated. And I really like learning about how money flows and what causes money to flow from one asset to another asset. And if you can time it right and get ahead of the curve, you can become very, very rich. And also understanding bubbles and busts and manipulation. Because I believe this announcement was pure manipulation. And this is just one of the ways the markets and the money flow is manipulated. So if we take a look what had happened. So he makes the announcement. I'm not sure exactly what time it was, but if you look at the charts, you get a pretty good idea. So the bond market here, let's say this little rally here started around 10:30. So the announcement is made, money flows into the bond market. The bonds go up in price. When the price goes up, that the yield goes down, so you're not making as much money. So there's a little balancing act. So around this time here, around 11:30, we can see it starts to sell off a bit. And where did money go? Went into the stock market. You see here, this is the S&P, an hourly chart. If we go here around, let's see, right around 10:30, we see a little bit of a spike. Spikes up, spikes up, spikes up, and then boom, big green candle at about 1:30. So if we look at the dollar, this here is US dollar ETF fund that tracks the dollar. And right here at 10:30, boom, dollar falls. When the dollar falls, when people lose confidence in fiat, where does the money go? It goes into stocks, it goes into gold. There's gold here. You can see a big green candle right at 11:30. So this is where I'm going to get a little conspiracy theory. But like a good investigator, we know people lie. And it's always best not to listen to what people say. Listen to what they do. And more importantly, follow the money. So what do we know? The Fed chairman says they're not going to be as aggressive with interest rates hikes. This ignites the stock market rally as people became bearish on the dollar. And like I've always been saying, if you listen to my channel, when people lose confidence in fiat, that's when we see a nice move in Bitcoin. Just like stocks, just like metals. And the difference, as you know, between metals and Bitcoin, metals, you can't spend it, not easily, right? You have to like sell it back to fiat. But with Bitcoin, you can spend it right away. Assuming, of course, wherever you're spending it accepts it. So what's got me about this thing is the timing of it. What season are we in? It's Christmas season, right? So how do all the CEOs, all the executives get paid? They get paid in stock. Or at least it's a good portion of their compensation. The stock market rallies higher. People go Christmas shopping. They spend a little bit more than what they normally do. Feeling this artificial confidence about the economy. This boosts sales, and the cycle just keeps going on and on and on. But it won't, because the bottom will eventually fall out of this. And a lot of economists are predicting a recession into 2019 and a stock market, maybe not a crash, but maybe a small bear market. So what I could see happening here is the stock market continuing this upward trend kind of as a fake out. And as the shrewd investors, when they start seeing the top and when they see trouble on the horizon, which may come up pretty soon in the beginning of next year, that money, if that does happen, a lot of it's going to flow into Bitcoin, and that's when we're going to see our rally. So I don't think that this little rally here is going to last very long. It would be great if it does. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bitcoin fall down to 3,000, because we know how heavily manipulated this is, and I don't think the whales are done yet. And while we're on this topic of manipulation, I wanted to bring two videos to your attention that you must see if you are serious about cryptocurrency and you want to learn about how things really work and what goes on behind the scenes. This video here from Data Dash's channel, the Dashcast episode 7 with Dr. Prash, they talk about the OTC market, which a lot of people don't know that the OTC market, the over-the-counter market, this is where a lot of the institutional investors buy and sell their Bitcoin in bulk. We're talking millions of dollars. and they trade, like peer to peer. It doesn't happen on a public exchange. So these sales, when they negotiate on a price, doesn't have any effect on what you would call the retail exchanges, the ones, the Binance, the Poloniex, those exchanges that you and I use. So they could spike the price up, bid the price up, and we never see it happen. So the price could be going up in the OTC market, but in our markets, in our exchanges, the price is actually going down. So to get a real accurate understanding of what's happening, you need to see what's happening in both exchanges. And they talk about how what I had suspected is that a lot of these whales, they take out huge short positions and then sell a ton of Bitcoin to tank the price, and then they buy it back cheap and then ride it back up again as the bulls pull the price back up. So they actually make out on both ends of the deal. They make out when it goes down and they make out when it goes back up. It doesn't seem fair, but this is how they play the game. So check this video out, and there's other one here. Bitcoin going to new highs soon by Tika Tiwari. This was on Sunny Decree's channel in his live stream. He talked about this, so I went and pulled it up and I watched it. It's really, really interesting. I'll play a little bit of it so you get the idea. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I'll only play a little bit of it. Definitely check it out. I'll leave links to everything I'm talking about in the description.
They're evil. Don't buy tech stocks. Don't buy tech stocks. But institutions, if you look at the 10Ks, the Qs, and all of the filings, the quarterly filings, they were all loading up on tech.
This is how the rich get richer.
Yes.
They know, they're connected. A lot of times they're coordinating without the insider trading. This is not illegal to do.
No, manipulating the news cycle, if you're smart about it, is they can get away with it. Nobody's ever been arrested for anything like this.
So now, with crypto,
yes,
I know personally, people that would have gotten in or stayed in if these people weren't saying what they're saying.
Right, and so this has really been extremely egregious. So on September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks, people listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal.
He says it's a fraud.
It says he'll fire anyone that buys it.
Yes. And at the same time, his company is buying it.
His company is buying it.
It's just, so unethical.
Right.
Okay, George Soros.
George Soros, in January 24th, price was already down, calls Bitcoin a bubble, says Bitcoin is the worst investment in the world. Don't buy Bitcoin. Don't buy Bitcoin. Basically throws gasoline on the fire at this point. And then what do we find out? So he says bubble here.
It drops 44%.
Right. And then here in April, 2 months later, guess what we find out?
Yeah.
His $26 billion family office has approval to buy cryptocurrency.
Right. And we only knew about it publicly here. And this is the kind of thing that George Soros is famous for this.
Yeah, so really interesting. I did a video on the Jamie Dimon thing. I remember that very clearly. He talked a whole bunch of crap about Bitcoin. It made all the news outlets and the price tanked. And then come to find out, a lot of the buys that came in the next day were from JP Morgan. Then when they pointed it out to them, they came back and said, oh, no, that wasn't us. That wasn't our people. That was our customers wanted to buy it. And we have no control over that. So, but they go on to say how these guys do this in every market. So don't let them lie to you when they tell you. I mean, you basically want to do the opposite of what they're saying. If on CNBC, they're making fun of Bitcoin, saying it's a joke, saying that it's going to zero, you got to think, what's the reason behind that? Don't buy it, guys. Don't buy it. All right, so what else? What else did I want to talk about? Talked about that. Okay, here's big news. Amazon makes a big move into blockchain with new AWS service. So Amazon's going to offer blockchain as a service. So if a company wants to basically buy a blockchain or rent a blockchain, Amazon's going to provide it. Now, if you're in the IT industry, you know all about AWS and basically the cloud and Amazon. It is taking over a lot of the IT in these big corporations because it's just cheaper for them to rent this stuff than to hold it on site. So they just put it in the cloud. And they can basically just rent what they need. So Amazon taking on blockchain is really, really significant because these guys are leading the charge of technology right now. AWS is no stranger to blockchain platforms and has been active in partnering with notable cryptocurrency projects. Most recently reported that Quantum, a platform for implementing plug-and-play smart contract bridging functionality with both Bitcoin and Ethereum, partnered with AWS to establish blockchain as a service offering through the AWS cloud. For clients looking to deploy a blockchain network on AWS, they can do so today with Hyperledger Fabric. Ethereum availability is coming soon. So good news for Ethereum. That leads me to Ethereum. A few months ago, like I said, I was very bullish on Ethereum. That changed when I saw a lot of these other projects like Quantum and Tron, these quote-unquote Ethereum killers, just started making more progress, and there was just no progress coming out of Ethereum. It just seems like they had a lot of controversy and a lot of infighting at the time, so I became bearish on it and I sold most of my Ethereum. I did videos on it, so you guys are probably already aware of that. But now, it tanked. Since then, it's tanked a lot. But there's been rumors going on. Vitalik and the team have been very quiet, and they've been working things out closed doors, and there's rumors that they're working on some game-changing projects. Keep in mind, Ethereum is the #2 crypto. It was the first to the space with smart contracts. So they know what they're doing. And if you look at the price bottomed out here. And when Bitcoin was going through all of its nonsense here, this manipulation, this whole whales manipulating the market and the whole BCH fiasco, Ethereum didn't decline as much as Bitcoin, and now it's been pretty flat for the past couple of days. So we may be seeing a bottom on Ethereum here. We can see we had a green day. It was a little higher, but now they're starting to come down a little bit. Tron had a big day. Where's Tron? Let's sort by change 24 hours. And Verge had a big day, 37%. Komodo, Populous, there's Tron there. So 19.83% gain. Very nice for you Tron bag holders. I know I got a little bag of Tron. So I think that's going to be it for today. Consider yourself informed. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, leave a nice comment. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin? Did we already see the bottom, or is there more downside to come? Leave a comment. Stay profitable, my friends. See you on the next video. Peace.